our next presenter, I'd like to introduce Stu Eisenman from eRevolution. Stu?
Oh, wow. I heard we usually get 35 or 40 people for this event, so this is quite a change. Thanks for coming, everyone, and thanks really to the community college for having us and inviting us, and Chris for reaching out to us. We appreciate it. So, eRevolution Ventures. We're essentially a data-driven e-commerce company located in Selbyville, Delaware, and I'll get back in a moment to what data-driven e-commerce actually means. Internet Retailer Magazine, which is really the sort of the watchdog of our industry, or the go-to magazine for our industry, recently listed us the 7th fastest growing e-commerce company in the US. We're pretty proud of that. And Inc. magazine actually just ranked us the 3rd fastest growing company in Delaware. So a lot of good things going on in Silicon Valley and Selbyville, as we like to say. I mentioned big data science, or we're a data-driven e-commerce company. So really what that means is we use data, analytics, rules, algorithms to sort of go out into the retail marketplace and universe and figure out buying trends, what's going to sell, what consumers are looking for. In a sense, we use big data, and you read that term a lot in periodicals now, big data science. NSA seems to be looking for a lot of big data scientists recently. But we use big data to sort of take the risk out of retail. And really, in a nutshell, that's pretty much what we do. The next slide up here, just to give you a little bit of company biography. We've been around since 1986, and I've got to bust on Chris a little bit for his website, because he wanted me to register, and I can't go back before 2000, and when you have to put in year founded, right? So yes, we've been around since 1986. We started as a brick and mortar retailer, actually in the New Orleans Riverwalk Marketplace, a festival marketplace that was run by the Rouse Company, and started with a 500 square foot kiosk. The thing that I'm most proud of as company co-founder and president is that since 1986, we've never had an unprofitable year. So we've weathered good economies, bad economies, all kinds of events, Hurricane Katrina down in New Orleans, lots of events, but we've still never had an unprofitable year. And recently, as we've focused on the e-commerce section of our business, because we still own some brick and mortar, but as we focused on the e-commerce section of our business, we've actually grown from recent years from $3 million in sales to $9 million to $24 million. We're projecting $50 million in revenue for this year that we're in right now. So I guess, the question is, so how did we get there? And that's, I think part of the reason that Chris asked that I come today. Okay, a couple of core principles. I know I only had 5 minutes or 6 minutes to talk, so I wanted to really focus on a couple of core beliefs that have served us well since 1986. And the first belief really is a really fundamental one. Business is about profits. So we've always been very good at managing our metrics, knowing our ratios, knowing our industry standards. And what you're seeing on that slide is sort of a physical manifestation of that philosophy, red light, green light. So with the help of our outstanding CIO from Lithuania, who's actually here today, and he's 6'7", so you can't miss him, right? We've integrated red light, green light into our software back end of the company. So each day is broken down, in terms of when what we need to do to break even for the day and become profitable. And when that happens, the light, you guessed it, right, changes from red to green. So little chairs go up in the office. It's also a great way to keep your staff there late after hours, because usually it's about 6:30, in the evening when the light changes, depending on the time of year. So business is about profit, and red light, green light. Another core principle for us, and I really believe wholeheartedly in this, and I'm sure many of you do, is share your goals and benchmarks, right? So, let your staff know what you're trying to accomplish. Let them know, what their immediate tasks are, and break it up into milestones and benchmarks. Our goal for 2013 was to double sales and double profits, and we're right on track to do it. We're coming into the fourth quarter. We're looking good. We've already surpassed our number for 2012, and typically we do in the last quarter what we did in the entire 9 months building up to the last quarter, right? So our goal for this year, in 2013, was to get to double sales and double profits, and the best way to do that, the easiest way to do it, and my vendor relationship manager is also here, and he'll tell me it wasn't so easy, but the easiest way to do it was to double our SKU count and in-stock items. So our buying staff, all of our key managers are all tied into this metric. So we had to go from 15,000 in-stock items to 30,000 in-stock items, and they had to accomplish that by October 1 to take advantage of the Christmas selling season, and they nailed it. I think we hit October 1 with about 33,000 in-stock items. So again, just sharing your goals and benchmarks. What you're seeing actually on this graph is kind of what we're focusing on now that we're understanding this, this sort of tiger by the tail that we have with the growth in our company. And our big goal now is to get a better return on investment in our inventory. So what you're seeing there is us monitoring whether our sales growth is exceeding our inventory growth in percentage terms. Because at the end of the day, if we can do that and get better turns, then we'll be much more profitable and we'll get our overall margins up. So share your goals and benchmarks. Definitely believe in it. Really, really important for us. Believe in partnership, and I'm wholeheartedly buy into this. So believe in partnership. Now these are all my business partners. We actually clean up pretty well. This was before a meeting in New York Toy Show, which is actually a really fun show to go to, in the Javits Center in New York City. But whether it's literally partnership, in other words, giving people equity in your company or allowing them to buy into your company, or philosophical partnership, getting people, working with people. The bottom line is believing that together and working with people, you'll get more done faster and more profitably than you will do by yourself. So believe in partnership, something we try to live. And then listen, observe, and emulate. And I just put up on this slide a few of the companies that I follow. Warby Parker, by the way, I think is an amazing company. They're really revolutionizing the way that people buy eyewear. And Henry Hines, actually, in the bottom right there, is kind of a hero of mine. He was an early innovator of the Hines Company in terms of employee incentives, employee programs to make people involved and buy ownership in the company. But listen, observe, and emulate, very important. And we apply that a lot when we're looking at competitors. So we'll often look at a competitor and say, how are they getting that product for the right price? What do we need to do to beat them to the punch? Do we need to be importing it direct? Do we need to eliminate touch points? All very basic but very good stuff for us. So listen, observe, emulate sounds pretty nice, but when we apply it to a competitor, it can be pretty cutthroat. And we like that, though. It's not a bad thing. Okay. And then the last slide, embrace change, right? Our company is totally transformed. I mean, we're seeing, incredible changes in the way consumers buy product, right? I mean, you can get same-day delivery in many cities. Just massive changes in just consumer behavior. You can go into a store and scan a barcode and figure out if the price is right or whether you should order it online. So rather than fight those trends, we realize that we're in a global economy, and we want to embrace change and use it to build and make us stronger. And then the last comment I would make is just moving forward, like what we're looking for 2014. We are stocking $100 million in sales. I mean, our goal is to double again this year. We're already selling in Canada, and by the end of November, we'll be selling in the UK. So a global strategy is part of what we're doing. So I hope I didn't speak too fast. I know I talk fast sometimes. But I guess at this point, that's kind of our story. And I appreciate you guys listening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
First, thank you for choosing Delaware, and that's what I want to know coming from Louisiana. What made you find and come to Delaware?
I came to actually Ocean City, Maryland first. I was working for another retailer, first as a marketing director and then as a managing partner. And then in 1997, we went out on myself and one of my guys that was in that photo went out on our own and formed our own company. So I just kind of ended up here a little bit by circumstance, I guess. Fair and so. But we like it here a lot. We're doing great things here. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your big success. I really admire your success.
Thank you.
And business needs coach. And your products, double revenue year after another year. We, do the cold therapy and the asthma therapy. We do have that potential, but I do not know how to do it. Now, do you accept business students, not business coach?
Business students. We actually have a couple of internship programs going on, but You know, I think one thing that's really helped us with our success, and I had to think really hard to distill what we're doing, you know, down to a few slides, but I also a core belief is believing in the next leadership, generation of leadership within your company. So we really have just an amazing executive team, about 5 or 6 individuals who are really going to help us take us to the next level. So I guess that would maybe answer your question a little bit. Not quite about education, but as close as I could get.
Hi, yeah, you're in Selbyville. Very grateful for that. What kind of internet broadband service are you getting there?
That's a good question. Joe, can you
Yes.
answer that question? Because just the
And it's-
carrier.
Okay,
Oh,
so
just
you
carrier,
don't have Maryland broadband coming in through?
No,
Okay,
no.
so, all right. Well, I wanted to let you know that some of us are looking into broadband for the entire county.
Gotcha.
Do you think that would be an improvement?
I think it
Nothing.
might, yeah.
Questions now.
Hi, Brad Ripke from Wawa Incorporated. Our company has always been, you know, we built ourselves from our niche and grew our way up. What is your niche that's, you know, showing that you are your part compared to the Goliaths out there in e-marketing?
Yeah, really, you know, what we try to do, and I think I mentioned it before, but we really try to take the risk out of retail. So really our niche is taking all this information that's available and using it to make really informed, on-target buying decisions. Like our inventory is our single greatest asset, okay? So what we want to do is we want to get the maximum return on investment on that inventory. So we're constantly moving in and out of SKUs, all right? And using that data and using it intelligently and constantly refining it and constantly trying to make it better. I mean, currently, we have right now, I guess we have about 34,000, 35,000 items in stock, right? But we're gathering data on 15 million items, okay? And part of what, you know, I talked a little bit before about just changes in our industry. You know, part of what's happening in our company is just to store that kind of information and have access to it. The costs have come down so much in the last couple of years. Like we couldn't have built this business 5 years ago, right? But with the things that, you know, it's available in cloud servers and everything else, we can do that. We can store this data or analyze it. But, you know, sometimes when we have bank folk in, right, we got to talk about, you know, our plans for next year and all that. And the great thing is, like, so I can, out of 15 million items I'm tracking right now, I just got to pick the best 35,000. So it's a very when you distill it down like that, it becomes very manageable for us.
What sources do you use before you
All kinds of, and that is a little bit of our secret sauce, you know. But I mean, social media, sales rank on various channels, and I didn't really mention before, but part of our success is we sell across multiple channels. So we sell on our own websites. We also sell on Sears and Amazon and on eBay and Newegg, Best Buy and Buy.com. So we sell on multiple channels. So we're gathering data points basically from all these different access points.
There's a question over here.
Yes, my name is Gene Gaines, the officer at Delaware Library. One of the things I'm curious about is transportation issues by land transportation. 35,000 items that you're shipping constantly. Do you find it a constraint on your business to have the kind of highway system that exists in Selbyville?
Okay, well, what I will tell you is, so, you know, going back a little bit in our history, right? So we started out as a brick and mortar retailer, and we had this website, and the website was doing, you know, never got up more than $800,000, $900,000 a year, right? It was right around $1 million a year. And we actually hit a tipping point, and that tipping point for us was 1,000 orders a day. So when we were shipping 1,000 orders a day out of our 5,000 square foot warehouse in Selbyville, spending many a night till 3 or 4 in the morning, you know, shipping these orders, we decided to outsource our distribution. So we don't do any of our own fulfillment at this point. Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions for Stu?
What do you sell?
Well, actually, the E stands for everything. Seriously. Yeah, the E stands for everything. We sell in every product category. I mean, we sell health and beauty. Actually, we're getting pressure a lot now to sell groceries, but we don't discriminate. We pretty much, if it's legal and ethical, we sell it. And that's part of the data science behind what we're doing. But we're probably strongest, in all fairness. Our biggest category is still toys and baby because we know that industry so well and we have a lot of relationships in that industry. We actually, another goal for this year is getting more and more exclusives. So we actually have a lot of exclusive relationships on e-commerce in that industry. So to answer your question, yes, the E stands for everything, but we're strongest in toy and baby. And my guys love to go through our warehouse. They'll go through our warehouse and shoot me text messages saying, "Did you know we sell this? Like we sell sand? Really? Sand? Like play sand?"
Stu, I have a question. I think they're as fascinated, about what you do as I was when I first learned about you, and I've been trying to figure out what you do for quite a while.
Did this help at all, or?
Well, I've ordered stuff from you. That's how I got to the bottom of it. I ended up buying a product,
Right.
and maybe that's what would help them. Can you walk them through how you get a product and how it ends up at a customer?
Sure. Well, I mentioned before that we sell on multiple channels. So you may go on Sears and look for a particular shoe, and you may or may not even realize that you ordered it from us. And you'll really be confused because it will probably be shipped to you via Amazon because they handle our fulfillment. So, in a nutshell, that's what we're doing. So we're not so much brand builders. Like we know what we do well. We've handed off a lot of the logistics of shipping so that we can concentrate on what we do best. And what we really do best, and what we've always done best since 1986, is we source product really well and make sure we can have it available when the customer has it, except for those pool vacuums that we bought that, anyway, that's another story because we're coming out of that season. But basically, it's about availability, product selection, and price for us. So, it's, and a big part of that is price. Does that answer the question?
Right, but all the products go through Selbyville.
Yes, at some point. I mean, 95%. We have some ship direct programs. We're actually doing some beta. We're in a beta program right now where we can actually ship containers directly from a point. So let's say China in this example, all the way to the distribution center. So, and I talked a little bit about that, about our future goals. We're really trying to eliminate those touch points because it just makes us that much more competitive.
Stu, what can we do as a community to support you?
Well, I mean, I think. Conferences like this, for one, are really helpful because it creates a dialogue. But, it's pretty apparent. I mean, we had 60 employees, full-time employees, at the close of 2012. We're at 113 now. So that kind of growth requires, an educated workforce. It requires a certain skill set. That's probably the biggest area. And then policy. I mean, unemployment rates in Delaware, stuff like that. So these are all concerns, but really it's about having that, reasonably well-educated workforce is probably the biggest, obstacle right now to our success, to growing.
Thank you. Great presentation.